Good morning, everyone. Jacob Carrizales, Suzanne Kramer, that's a plea.
Judge, Suzanne said she's stuck in another court, but also he may not sign the agreement, so working on that right now.
Is he logged on? I don't see him logged on.
They don't have enough computers yet, Judge. I'll be on in a little while.
We showed him on bond. Jacob Carrizales says bond.
I haven't seen him yet.
I'm going to recall this for a bond forfeiture. Rafael Leal has Brian Pedro. Motion for bond reduction. How many witnesses do you have, Mr.? He's not here. All right. I'm sorry. Matthew Allen has Oscar Ortegon. Application for writ of habeas.
He's talking to Denise.
Okay. On both cases. And then Anita Garza has Leslie Martinez. She's here in person.
We had reset it because Anita was not feeling well, but I'll try to reach out since she's there, see if she can get on.
Let me just pull the violation report. Maybe I can fix it now. Scott McCrum has Brian Roel.
They're in a break room, Judge.
Is Roel in custody? He is, right?
Now he is, Judge.
Yeah, I had to shoot some warrants. And then Dana Jones has David Lee Young. Is Mr. Young on the phone?
He is. I believe this is the 1806 number is them.
Mr. Young, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Can you hear us, Mr. Young?
I'm here.
Okay, you need to confer with him, Dana?
If we could really briefly, that would be great. If you can put Danny De La Garza and I in a room with him.
Morning, Your Honor. I'm
Yes.
here on that as well.
Okay, good morning. I'm not sure what the commands are for the landline. I hope TDC can help with that, but we'll move in on our end. There's like a whole set of commands for people who dial in on how to leave the room, join the breakout room. Like I just don't know them. All right, those are all the cases I have this morning. Please confer. Melinda, do you see any other violation reports on Leslie Martinez?
Let me check, Judge.
I don't need her attorney here. This is an easy fix.
I'm gonna check file 360 real quick.
I just see one.
So do I.
Fucking bitch, you screwing me over? Fucking screwing me over, bitch?
Actually, come here. I want you to read this.
Honorable Judge.
No. I want you to read it to yourself. Read the paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Why haven't you reported?
I did call her. I wasn't feeling well, and then my daughter got sick with my grandbaby. So when I called to reschedule, my phone started messing up. I had to go take it to go get fixed. And I just felt, and to be honest, I felt like I didn't have to give a UA. I refused it because my case wasn't a drug charge. But if she wants to UA,
She's not the one that wants to UA you. I set the conditions of your release.
yes, ma'am. I understand.
So the
I-
next, this is my way of giving you a chance to fix it.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't fix it, I will fix it for you. So I need you to have a seat. I'm gonna email her and I want her to tell me when she wants you to go give a UA. Because if it's up to me, I would want a UA right now. So let me get in touch with her. So have a seat. Ms. Gabsa, your client is in the courtroom. I'm gonna put her on the iPad so she can confer with you. I've already conferred with her.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I spoke to her this morning. On the phone.
Is anyone ready to go forward on any of their hearings or to announce?
Judge Matthew Allen here. I'm here on 2 bond hearings. I'm ready when the court's ready for Oscar Ortegon and Crystal Highsmith.
Okay, how many witnesses do you have?
1 for each.
Okay.
And Your Honor, Dana Jones here. We are ready on the David Young matter whenever the court is.
Let me pull it up. Matthew, can I ask you to wait so we can take care of the inmate from TDC?
Yeah, that's no problem, Judge.
Mr. McCrum, do you have an announcement?
He wanted to confer with Denise, Judge. I put him in her room.
Hello? I don't think they can't hear me. I can hear them, but.
Ashley, can you put the iPad in breakout room with Ms. Garza, please?
And Your Honor,
Yes.
I believe Mr. Young is still in the
This right here?
breakout room. We don't know the
This?
command to bring him back. We
Well,
thought maybe
we're
he'd
gonna
just
have
come
to-
back once we came back.
Let me see if I can bring him back to the main session.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully, oh, it works.
Hello, Your Honor?
You're good.
It's Zoom, it's not me. Mr. Young, can you hear us?
Hello?
Mr. Ortegon,
Yes,
hang
ma'am.
tight. Just hang tight. We're not on your case yet. I'm gonna mute
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, okay.
Okay. Mr. Young, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's here for the state on that case?
Judge, I was just texting Matt Howard to see if they were going to get on. I know his position because of some email threads that we've had with court admin and Matt, that since they're not technically on the case right now, they don't think that they are allowed to talk about it.
Ah, you're right.
I shoot you, yeah.
I just looked at the motion right now. I remember now. Okay, so let's get David online, please, my court reporter.
He's on, Judge.
Ready, Dave? Let's go on the record. Thank you. This is cause number 2017 CR 2062 W1. The state of Texas, I'm sorry, ex parte David Lee Young. This is a defense notice to waive conflict of interest and reinstate the Bexar County District Attorney's Office as counsel for the state. If the defense could please make an announcement.
Dana Jones and Daniel De La Garza for Mr. Young.
Mr. Young is appearing by telephone from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Mr. Young, please tell me your full name.
David Lee Young
Okay, and where are you located right now?
at the Jordan Unit in Pampa, Texas.
You understand the purpose of this hearing this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
Your Honor, if you, just to give the court a little bit of procedural history, on this case. This case was tried when District Attorney Nicholas Nico LaHood was still in office. Joe Gonzalez had not taken office yet. From the time of conviction to appeal, Mr. Gonzalez took over at the DA's office. And so on appeal, prior appellate counsel, Angela Moore, had filed a motion with the Court of Appeals to hold the case in abeyance, remand it back down to the trial court to recuse Mr. Gonzalez from the case, citing, and essentially after Mr. Young was arrested, initially he went, like most defendants do, and interviewed different attorneys, different defense counsel, and one of those was Mr. Gonzalez. It was just an initial one-time interview. They discussed the case in general terms as far as kind of a plan that would move forward, what he's being accused of, a plan as far as attack, getting an investigator moving forward with it. They discussed pricing. It was about an hour-long meeting. And then he ultimately did not hire Mr. Gonzalez, and he went and hired former office of Daniel and Hudson, and ultimately Brandon Hudson tried this case. So initially the state filed a response to the motion to hold the case in abeyance and remand it back down to the trial court to work these matters out. And the state's response was, Mr. Gonzalez has no recollection of this meeting. He doesn't remember ever meeting with him or anything that was discussed. It's not necessary to remand it back down. The fourth court did remand it back down to the court, and somehow in between we don't need to be recused to the remand back down, the state prosecuting attorney's office, Stacey Sewell, she filed a notice of appearance in the case. And then Mr. Gonzalez filed a voluntary recusal motion. I have his motion in front, essentially just saying, I don't recall this, but he's saying we discussed private matters, and therefore I will voluntarily recuse because now the state prosecuting attorney's office is taking over. I believe you just signed the order because it kind of, everybody was already handling Mr. Gonzalez getting off the case at that office and somebody else taking over. And then it went back up on appeal. So where we are now, we have filed the writ. The DA's office we don't have a prosecutor on this case at all right now. This court initially said, well,
what happened to the state prosecuting attorney?
They said, no, we're not going to do it. We don't take on these case writ, and we're not doing it.
So they filed an appearance just for the direct appeal?
Just for the direct appeal. So you have issued an order designating issues. I do believe that these matters need to be resolved, and we're kind of in a holding pattern at this point. I have reviewed everything. I have talked with my client extensively. I've looked at the law. I don't personally see, this is not a disqualification case where Mr. Gonzalez ever represented Mr. Young. It's a matter of he requested to voluntarily recuse after kind of all that procedural history that I just explained happened. I have talked with Mr. Young. He has executed a declaration that has been attached to our filing for the notice of waiver. I don't believe that there is a conflict of interest. I don't think that the law provides that there is one, but we are willing to waive any potential conflict of interest that is out there to get the conviction integrity unit, the Bexar County DA's office back on this case. And if that's option A, and what our request is, option B is that we just get somebody appointed sooner than later so that we can get moving forward with these issues that we need this court to resolve. If you would like to hear from my client, he obviously is on. I think everything that's in his declaration is everything that he would testify to, that there really wasn't any, and the question that I had is, what is confidential? I know that initially the request to recuse the DA's office was that confidential information was divulged, but confidential information isn't just because I'm having a meeting with my client that every single matter in that meeting becomes confidential. If it's something that can be found out in a police report or it's been told to somebody else, that doesn't make it necessarily confidential information. And I don't believe that anything, yes, while it was an attorney-client meeting, even though he did not hire him ultimately, I don't believe that there was anything that was divulged, that becomes confidential information. Also, at this point in a writ, we're kind of at a different proceeding because we have laid everything out on the table. The case has been tried. The state's position has been out there in the record. Now our position as far as what we have to say about the case is also in the record. So really, if there was anything that was discussed, which Mr. Gonzalez has already put forward in various filings that he doesn't recall even the conversation, I don't think that we have any conflicts there.
I don't have the physical file. I just have access to whatever has been scanned, and it looks like it's just the appellate stuff that has been scanned. Have you inquired with your client about every single aspect of that conversation that he had with Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am. I have. I can tell you, I just actually, we've done it before, getting ready to file this notice. And we just did it again right now. His recollection of the conversation was, I didn't do this, which he pled not guilty in the trial court. So I don't think that that's anything private. They talked about fees, what Mr. Gonzalez would charge. Mr. Gonzalez, he remembered saying, I would like this case to go to trial within 6 to 8 months. And I think that's probably because he was getting ready to run for DA. They talked about, his general approach to these kinds of cases, which included, we would get investigators working on it. There was some talk about who is this person, the accuser, which it's his stepdaughter. So that wasn't private knowledge that was who the accuser was. He doesn't recall any secrets. He said specifically, I didn't tell him any secrets that weren't known to anybody else. I didn't just divulge any of that kind of stuff. The reason he believed, or at the very beginning of it, Mr. Gonzalez, like all of us defense attorneys, or not all of us, but most of us do, is, hey, even if you don't hire me, this is attorney-client privilege. This, you can talk freely with me. And so that's why he believed it was a privileged conversation. But he also has expressed that there is nothing that he told him that was a secret that nobody else knew.
I think I found the old file. Oh, this is Judge Parker. Yeah. Judge Parker.
Yeah, it was tried down in impact court. I was emailed part of a file, and I don't know if it's your writing, I believe. I'm not that familiar with your writing, but there was a 1-page note in there and about the hearing.
I remember when it was on the 4th Court of Appeals. I remember this. Yes. Okay, so what you're asking me is to allow you to waive the conflict of interest and reinstate the district attorney's office as the attorney for the state.
Yes, ma'am.
And then that will allow you to proceed with your post-conviction writ?
Moving forward with the issues that this court has already designated are issues, yes. I apologize. I have to work from home and my kids are yelling in the background. And
It's okay. Okay, so do you want to draft the findings, or you want us to draft findings regarding your waiver of conflict of interest.
Whatever the court prefers, I don't mind doing it. I can generate one over to court admin and they can correct my work and get it in front of you.
Mr. Young,
Yes, ma'am.
do you understand what your attorney is asking me to do? She wants me to go ahead and let the office of the district attorney of Joe Gonzalez to go ahead and serve as the prosecutor in this case.
Yes, ma'am. They've explained it to me fully and I completely understand.
And is that what you want to do?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree with your attorney that nothing confidential was given to Mr. Gonzalez at that meeting?
Yes, ma'am. There was nothing said that were any secrets or anything that can be used against me. There's nothing that was hidden from anyone else either.
So you understand the concern. The concern is that if you said something to him in that meeting and he has knowledge of that he cannot by law now prosecute you, right?
Yes, ma'am. I understand that.
I don't see any reason why you can't waive your conflict. So I will agree with you. I will get those findings ready and we'll reinstate the DA's office as the prosecuting attorney in this case. And I'm sorry that it's taken up this long and I never realized there was no one prosecuting it, but we'll get it fixed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will get with Erica on those findings and see what she wants me to do and move from there.
Okay, and do you need to talk to your client before we release him?
Yeah, sure, briefly, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go off the record. Ashley will move you guys back to your room. You have to physically try to move him, Ashley, because he's on the phone.
May we be excused from there, Your Honor?
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And Judge, this is Suzanne. When you have a chance, I just want to announce or let you know what's going on with Jacob Gonzalez. I don't know. I was telling Sam that we've been texting back and forth all week and basically up until about 45 minutes ago. When he did a counter offer, which Sam said no to, but I explained to him that really we don't need a counter offer based on what our plea bargain is. And he just went dark. And I've told him, if you do not zoom in, I guess by noon, the judge will forfeit your bond. And I still haven't heard anything. So Sam just wanted to be able to leave the Zoom. So I told him I would jump in and then I can just keep checking back.
Yeah, why don't we, I'll wait until 12. I'll be here. I'll be on Zoom for a little while.
Okay.
You want to try to
I will
or
jump
have
back
him
in.
come into the courthouse.
I don't really think that's the issue. As I was not wanting to divulge anything. Sometimes he's very compliant and sometimes he is not. So.
Okay, no worries. Well, I'll wait until 12 and then I'll act on the bond forfeiture, okay?
Thank you, Judge. I'll be back.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Allen.
Ashley?
Yes.
Mr. McCrum's asking for his client to join him in room 2.
Okay, let's start with Oscar Ortegon. Let's go on the record, please.
Can you hear me, Anna? Judge, I believe that's Denise's.
Okay, please get her in here. We're ready.
Yeah.
Mr. Ortegon, can you hear me? This is Judge Meza. You're muted right now. It's okay if you stay muted because it's very loud back there. When it's your turn to answer, you're gonna see this, where I ask you to unmute yourself. Do you see that? Click on it. See, now you're unmuted. So if it gets loud, I'm gonna mute you and then I'll ask you to unmute yourself, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Bro, Wednesday, we had 98 million this point. Wednesday. Actually, we had. Monday, we had 134.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Everybody's with my dad.
Can you set this for a jury trial? That's what I wanted you to do.
Oh, you have an attorney, sir. We're gonna have a bond reduction hearing right now. Do you want to talk to your client, Matthew? He wants a jury trial.
Yeah, I can talk to him very briefly. Just
Do you want to? Let's just go forward on the motion. I understand he wants a jury trial. We'll give him one, but we need to go forward on this motion. All right. Denise, you ready?
Yes, it is, sorry. Yes, state's ready, Your Honor.
This is cause number criminal magistrate number 638783. The state of Texas versus Oscar Ortegon. This is the defense application for writ of habeas corpus seeking bail. Mr. Go ahead and announce, attorneys.
Denise Harrison for the state of Texas, Your Honor.
and Matthew Allen for Mr. Ortegon.
Mr. Ortegon is appearing by video conference from the Bexar County Jail. I want you to please tell me your full name, Mr. Ortegon.
Can you hear me, Anna?
Yes, sir.
My name is Oscar Ortegon.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and mute you really quick. Mr. Allen, do you want to tell me what's going on this morning?
Sure. Mr. Ortegon is in custody on an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He's been in continuous custody. He's unable to make bond, and so we are asking the court for bond reduction. His wife, Marilyn, is here to testify to the financial status.
Okay. Is she's not the complainant, is she?
She is not. And the bond right now is set at 75,000.
Go ahead, you may call your first witness.
Okay. Call Ms. Ortegon.
Ms. Ortegon, if you could please raise your right hand.
It looks
I
like
think she can hear me.
She's not connected to audio, Judge.
Yeah. Do you want to give her a call, Matthew?
Yeah.
I can try. While you do that, I'm going to try to chat her.
No, my attorney left. Things are going, still staying in it?
Yeah.
You should try to get a hold of them.
Ashley, while the judge is doing that, can you forward that email I sent you regarding Brian Peddle to Raphael? For some reason, his emails are getting sent back to me. He's not receiving my emails.
If it's the one that's really big, I can't send it again.
That's why. He probably, okay.
You might have to break it up to send it to him.
Try sending it to me. I don't have any limitations.
I sent them this morning, Judge, early this morning, the exhibits.
Okay. Chat me, is it his address on the one on the docket sheet?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Mm-hmm. Is she connected, Matthew?
I'm on.
Oh, good. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to start your video. Let's go back on the record.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Allen, you were going to call this witness. Go ahead and raise your right hand, ma'am.
Okay. My right hand. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Allen.
All right. Could you state your full name?
Marilyn Ortegon.
And Miss Ortegon, how do you know Oscar?
He's my husband.
How long have you been married?
16 years.
All right. And do you live here in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
Do you have other family and friends that live here in San Antonio?
No, sir.
Okay.
I have friends that live here.
Okay. And as far as anyone who's able and willing to help out with Oscar's bond, are you here to speak on everyone's behalf?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you currently working right now?
No, sir. I'm handicapped. I'm on a disability Social Security.
All right. And was Oscar working when he was arrested?
No, sir.
Okay. Did he receive any disability or?
We're in the progress of getting his application to the Social Security office and getting his attorney to fix it.
All right. And his disability, what is that related to?
His car accident, well, he was on a bicycle. He was coming home and this lady in a Jeep hit him head on and flew him 200 feet away from where he was hit at.
Okay. And does he still suffer from some medical issues today from that?
Yes, he does.
Do you know what those issues are?
He has a broken hip. His whole face got shattered. He cannot, let's see, when he needs to tell you something, he forgets it very easily. He has short-term memory loss. He can't remember things.
All right. And if he were released on bond, would he be living with you in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
And as far as assets, you mentioned that your income is Social Security disability. About how much do you get each month?
$1,110, and my daughter gets $250.
Okay. And how old is your daughter?
She'll be 15 the end of this month.
And does she live with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And approximately how much are your bills each month as far as phone and insurance and housing?
On my house taxes, I pay every other month. That's close to $600. And
Okay.
then I have the rest of my bills that come out to about $300 to $400.
Okay. So maybe about $700 a month in bills.
Yes, sir.
All right. At the end of the month, is it fair to say you don't have a lot left over?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. As far as money that you have been able to put aside for Oscar's bond, how much money do you have right now?
$400.
Okay. If Oscar was released on bond, would you make sure that he follows all the conditions of the court?
Yes, sir.
And-
I'm a retired, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Go ahead.
but I'm a retired nurse, certified nurse's aide. I've worked in hospitals in California. I worked in one hospital with patients that were arrested on 5150. I don't know if you know what that means, but that is harmful to yourself and to others. And I took care of them.
Okay. And so you've been taking care of Oscar for the last year and a half or 2 years since his accident, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And if he were to have a GPS monitor, you would make sure that he follows that as well, right?
Yes, sir.
And then because the alleged incident happened at the high school, your daughter attends Stevens High School?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you know that he would not be allowed to go to or near Stevens High School while this case is pending?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you would make sure that he abides by that condition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then he also would not be able to have any firearms or weapons in the house. Would you make sure that that condition would be followed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. The prosecutor, Ms. Hairston, may have some questions for you. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. Ortegon, how are you doing today?
Just fine.
Okay, if I talk too fast, just let me know, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, David, I see you shaking your head. You said California. Are you from California?
No, I'm originally from Louisiana.
Okay.
I just
long
lived
have
in
y'all-
California for like 41 years.
Okay. How long have y'all lived in San Antonio?
I've been here since 2006, about 17 years.
And is your husband from San Antonio?
No, ma'am. He's from Laredo, Texas, I think.
And you said you guys, you do not have any family here except for your 15-year-old daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
And Matt made a good point. If your husband is able to make bond, you do understand that he cannot go back to that high school.
Yes, ma'am. I know. He's not allowed there.
And you do understand, due to the fact that there was a gun involved, he cannot possess a gun.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you currently have any other guns in the house?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
And if you do have guns in the house, will you check before if he is able to make bond to make sure all guns are no longer in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
The state has no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Allen? Your next witness?
No further witnesses. The defense would rest.
State, do you have any witnesses or anything you want to offer in this one?
The state would just like to offer into evidence States Exhibit 1 that I had previously emailed the court and to the defense counsel.
No objections.
Let me pull it up.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just one exhibit, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. State's one is admitted.
The state has nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, argument, please.
Yes, Judge. So his current bond is set at $75,000. He's been in custody for about 60 days now. It's clear that Ms. Ortegon cannot make that bond. She testified to her assets and ability to make bond. She only has, in the last 2 months, she's only been able to secure $400 for that bond. We don't believe that Mr. Ortegon is a flight risk. As far as a danger to the community, we feel that the court's conditions of bond would alleviate those concerns. As far as a full house arrest GPS, obviously no contact and no going near the school, and then no firearms in the house or possessed at all, that those would have to be turned over. We feel that those would be sufficient conditions to make sure that he follows that and that the community is safe. He's been in San Antonio for 16 years. His wife and daughter live here, so he has great ties to the community. And again, so we would ask, based on the amount that Ms. Ortegon has, that the bond be set at $4,000.
Your client's history with mental illness.
I don't believe there's any. I don't have any records of actual diagnosed history. I know that Ms. Ortegon testified and she's talked to me about the issues he had since the accident, with not only physical, but some mental issues. She talked about short-term memory loss. I don't know if there's anything else that's been diagnosed from that.
What was he doing at Stevens High School? I don't understand.
His daughter attends high school there.
who is the person that he pointed the gun at?
I don't believe that they knew each other. I think the other person was also picking up their child as well.
That's correct.
How many days in custody? Has your
I
client been?
believe 60. He was booked on November 18th. So a little less than 60.
The 17th.
Judge, I have that he was booked on the 18th.
18th.
State, any argument?
Yes, Your Honor. The state won't disagree with Mr. Allen in regards to the financial situation. But when it comes down to this case, the state does believe he is a risk. He is a risk to the community due to the fact that this was at a high school to begin with, Stevens High School. Stevens High School had to go on lockdown when parents are out there ready to pick up their children because of this incident. He had a gun on school property, which you're not supposed to have firearms on school property to begin with. And it all stemmed from honking the horn, my complaining witness getting out of the vehicle, and then a separate witness who had no ties to neither one of these individuals stating what he saw and seeing the defendant pointing a gun at this complaining victim.
That's not true. I never.
And then he
anyone.
And then he runs in, and that witness runs into the school to tell them about what's going on, Your Honor. This is a serious incident. Anybody could have got hurt. Kids were in imminent danger, and we understand $75,000 because of his income. The defense counsel believe it's unusually high, but due to the circumstances of the case, many individuals could have got injured. We are asking to keep it at $75,000 in all conditions that are previously ordered on the case, Your Honor. And I'm sorry, Your Honor, one more thing. And due to the fact that he might have traumatic brain injury with a short-term disability, we would ask if he is able to make bond, that he is looked at by special needs, just so that he can have a closer look due to the fact that he might have short-term memory loss.
All right, I'm going to take this matter under advisement. I'm going to order the pretrial services officers to give me a PR bond report so I can see his entire history. And also, while they're doing that, they will also evaluate him to see if he qualifies for any services while he's on bond. So I will give you a decision once I have that report.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Go off the record. Can Mr. Ortegon go back, or do you want to visit with him before he goes back?
I can set up a visit with him later. And Ms. Ortegon, you can sign off now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Tell my wife I love her very much. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ortegon, you're excused. Let's go on the record on Crystal Dawn Highsmith. This is Nightmag number 637077. David, are you with us?
I am now.
This is Nightmag 637077, the state of Texas versus Crystal Dawn Highsmith. Attorneys, please make your announcements for the record.
Yes, Your Honor. Luis Echeverria for the state of Texas.
And Matthew Allen for Ms. Highsmith.
Ms. Highsmith is appearing by video conference from the Bexar County Jail. You can unmute yourself, ma'am, and go ahead and tell me your full name.
Crystal Dawn Highsmith.
This is the defense application for writ of habeas corpus seeking bail. Currently, Ms. Highsmith has a $30,000 bond for the charge of arson. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Yes, Judge. Just a brief history. She was, I believe, arrested and booked on November 4th, 2021. She's been in continuous custody. I am her appointed counsel. her bond, I believe, is currently set at 30,000, and she's charged with arson, habitation. And so we are here on a bond reduction hearing.
Call your first witness, please.
All right. We would call Crystal Highsmith for the limited purpose of a bond reduction hearing.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Highsmith, state your full name.
Crystal Dawn Highsmith.
Okay. And Ms. Highsmith, you're the same person that's the defendant in this case, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And where were you living when you were arrested?
Trade Winds Apartments.
All right. Were you living with anyone?
Yeah, a friend.
Okay. If you were released on bond, would you be able to secure housing, I believe, with your mother?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And where does she live?
In Kerrville.
In Kerrville. And were you working at the time?
No, I wasn't. I had just currently tried to relocate down here to get away from an abusive relationship, and my vehicle was stolen with everything I owned in it.
All right. Prior to that, where were you working, or what were you working as?
In LVN. I've been in LVN for over 21 years.
All right. And do you have other family that's in or around San Antonio?
Yes, my father lives on Skates Drive. He just had a triple bypass surgery, open heart surgery.
Okay. As far as let's talk about this. As far as assets that you personally have, do you have any assets now?
No, sir.
Okay. And as far as anyone willing or able to help out with your bond, is there anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. And so do you have a history of mental health?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what is that?
I was in a coma in 2016. I have a traumatic brain injury, and I have seizures. And I also suffer from major depressive disorder and severe PTSD.
Okay. And are you currently receiving medication at the jail?
Yes, I am.
How is that going as far as just the medication?
It's not as good as I take out in the real world. Like, I've been to San Antonio Behavioral to have my meds readjusted. I'm sure within the first week of me being out, that's my plan. I just want to see my kids and go get my meds readjusted.
Okay, you mentioned your kids. How many kids do you have?
I have 4, but 2 are minors.
Okay, where are they living right now?
My youngest is with my mom and my granny, who are both disabled, and she's special needs. And my oldest daughter is with her dad, and I have custody court in February for her.
Okay, and you said your youngest is special needs?
Yes, she suffers from DMDD, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder, and ADHD.
Now, you've been in custody for 60 days. How are the conditions at the jail in regards to how they're affecting your mental health?
It's not good. Like, we don't have hot water a lot of the time because, they put me in a high risk pod. There's constant fighting. You're getting yelled at. Your stuff's getting thrown away. I was in a domestically violent relationship where I was held captive for 6 months. So it kind of feels just like that all over again. And that's what I came down here to get away from. I just wanted to get help, and my car got stolen with my meds in it. And then less than a week or 2 later, I was in trouble. I always take my meds. I even called the sheriff's department, SAPD, even the jail, trying to get the key to the car so I could get into the key when they recovered it to get my meds, and no one could figure out how I could get to the car.
All right, so it's safe to say that you want and you know that you need continued mental health treatment. Is that right?
Yes, I always I always take my meds. I always go to my appointments. I always follow through.
And
And
if,
Sorry, I
No, it's
wanted to
okay.
continue my trauma therapy with Archangel Recovery Group when I got out of here. Because I was doing trauma therapy via Zoom and they told me I can't do that while I'm in here.
and if the court were to make those conditions of your bond, would you make sure to keep following that?
Absolutely, I need it. I want to get the help so I can return to working as a nurse. I have before this last year, like I said, I was in a really bad relationship and the abuse made my seizures worse. So I'm going to have to prove that I'm stable before I can ever go back to work as a nurse again. And that's all I've done all my life is be a nurse. I used to be the one to help people, to take care of people. And right now I need some taking care of and I need to seek the help that I need to for me and my kids.
And going back to the assets, again, I just want to make it clear, you don't have any
have
money
nothing.
or nothing? Okay.
No, I don't
All
have
right.
a penny to my name right now.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Highsmith. I don't have any other questions, but the prosecutor may, okay?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Highsmith, my name is Luis Echeverria. I'm a prosecutor with the Bexar County DA's office. I have a few questions for you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't hear where you were living before you came to San Antonio. You said you were somewhere for 21 years. What location was
Yes,
that?
in Kerrville.
Oh,
With my
okay.
mom, yeah, in the hill country.
In Kerrville, did you pick up any type of criminal charges while you were living there for those 21 years?
Only this year, and that was while I was being held captive, the house that the abusive boyfriend that I was with, his house got raided while I was in the house and I've been charged, but those charges are still pending and I'm trying to work out a deal with the DA there. They're not quite aware of the entire situation that was going on. But
Okay.
I haven't been able to contact my attorney there while I've been in here.
Are those charges, the allegations involve drug possession, or can you tell us what those charges involve?
It is, no drugs were found on me. They were found in the house on my abusive boyfriend's brother, who him and his friends had raped me, and I was being locked in a room in that house. I had tried to tell the task force that night, but they weren't listening to me. But they left me there with the minor child until they could find foster placement and then just charged me after the fact for the drugs that they found in the two males' possession.
I see.
It wasn't my house. It wasn't, I had an apartment and everything there, but
Can you tell the court how many charges you have pending there in Kerrville?
I have that one. And then I was having seizures and PTSD blackouts and was going to the ER and I got criminal trespass, but I don't know if those have been dropped since then.
Okay, and that's also out of Kerrville?
Yes, they told me I needed to bring my medical history from university to show that, and then they would probably drop all that.
Okay. The allegations in this specific case, ma'am, we will not get into for the purposes of this proceeding. However, I do want to ask just one question. This location for these allegations of arson involve a location called Extend Suites. You didn't own that location, did you? You weren't the owner of the premises there?
No, no, sir.
You were just staying there like on a night by night basis?
Yes, on Halloween, I had been drugged and raped and I hadn't had my meds and I was trying to figure out how to get admitted to a psych facility and I was confused. I'm pretty sure I had some seizures and I was just trying to figure out how to get help for myself. And I was there. That's where I ended up. So I just rented a hotel room. I had the money for the hotel room. I know the things I was saying weren't making sense. They don't make sense to me now. What happened doesn't make sense, but I know I need my meds. And I was trying to figure out how to get the help. I even asked them to call an ambulance for me. But I guess the way I was trying to communicate wasn't making sense to them. So.
Okay. One last area that I quickly want to touch on is you said you have traumatic brain injury. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the court a little bit about how that originated?
I was in a coma in 2016. And I had a anoxic brain death. I was dead for almost an hour before they found me. And I died 7 times while I was in my coma. So, but I was still able to return to work as a nurse after that. It's just traumatic events that trigger seizures or trigger like blackout PTSD spells, kind of basically when someone's trying to hurt me or I feel threatened, I kind of flip out if I don't have my meds. Not flip out bad, but like I don't make sense. I never hurt anybody. I just try to protect myself, and sometimes it doesn't make sense the ways that I'm trying to protect myself.
I see. Okay, Ms. Highsmith, I appreciate your time and information on this. I have no further questions. Just argument, Your Honor.
And the defense would rest. No further questions for this witness.
Okay, State, do you have anything to offer?
Judge, I did email the court and courtesy copied Mr. Allen this morning, probably just before, around 9:30 this morning, Your Honor, and that's State's Exhibit 1. It's essentially the SAPD police report, along with the statement written by a security officer at the location, which I referred to already, known as Extend Suites. It's located 935, Your Honor. I did provide it to the court and would like to make argument after Mr. Allen.
No objection.
Okay, so State's Exhibit 1 will be the written statement of Aaron Andrade consisting of 2 pages. And then State's Exhibit 2 will be the magistrate warning and the offense report consisting of 19 pages. No objections, right, Mr. Allen? Is that what you said?
Correct.
States 1 and 2 are admitted. How many, so she was booked November the 4th, right?
Yes, Judge.
Give me just a minute to read the offense. What level offense is this going to get indicted under?
Well, Judge, its charge is a first degree. I should say it's not indicted, obviously, but the offense report refers to that under Texas Penal Code 2802 because it was a habitation location.
Give me a minute, please. Does anybody need to announce before I take a break to read this? Mr. McCrum or Mr. Ladd?
Judge, I'm just waiting because we're here on a bond violation.
Oh, but I issued a warrant for those bond violations. I issued the warrants after I had set it for a hearing. So a violation came in and then he got arrested. I apologize if I wasn't clear about that. There was two different violations.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought the arrest was the basis of all the violations.
No, there was one before. There was one before, and then all of the arrests came in, and that's when I remanded him.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if there's much to be had today.
I don't think there is, Judge, and we're set for Tuesday again for the trial docket. So, and we're talking about possible resolution. So, if we just want to bring this back Tuesday.
That's fine. We'll recall you on Tuesday. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
And Judge, this is Mr. Leal, and we're ready on the motion to reduce.
I'm still handling this one, so you'll be next, okay?
All right, thanks.
Raphael, did you receive the email from the judge?
No, I haven't.
Bounce back. That's not the correct address. I need you to text me your address. Send it in the chat, please. Because it bounced back.
So I can leave now, right?
Mr. Roel? Yes. We'll
Yes,
see you
ma'am.
Tuesday. Yes, we'll see you Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Uh-huh. Give me just a minute. We're gonna be in recess. I'm gonna read these documents.
Ashley, this is Suzanne. If you could put me in a breakout with Jacob, please.
Suzanne, I need you to send me his email so I can send my document.
I'll chat it. I thought I had, but I will chat it to you right now. Damn it.
That's all right. I got RAMNAGUIA. It's not. Oh, yeah, to the second one. All right. Oh. And the supervision and right to go. That's the first thing. Yes. Transport Officer Sanchez, 6297 ASAP. Transport Officer Sanchez, 6297 ASAP. Yes, sir. What did they say you know? What did they say? Yeah, I didn't see the paper original. Well, sit right here, sir. What's your name, Martinez? Sir. My name. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, listen.
Can I see the attorneys on Highsmith in a breakout room, please?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Luis, you're both in 2, so go back to 2 and I will meet you there.
Raphael, you get anything yet?
Let me check.
I even broke down the emails and made them smaller. Just in
Yes,
case.
okay, yes. Now I do.
From who? Me or the judge?
From you.
Is it 3 of them?
Let's see. I have, well, 3 separate email, let's see.
Okay, 3 separate emails. One of them is gonna be exhibits 1 through 5. The second one's gonna be exhibit 6, and the final last one's gonna be state exhibits 7 through 13.
It's untimely, Denise.
No, it's not. Everybody else received it except for you, Raphael. Something's wrong with your email. You need to upgrade. Spend a little money and upgrade.
I got state of the art.
Spend a little money and upgrade, because all of us got it.
Hey, I got a better computer than the state.
Ha! You would have got the email. But thanks to Ashley. Ashley gave me that idea
What?
when she spoke about breaking them up. Thank you, Ashley.
What?
No worries. It's just too big for us.
Okay.
Oh, see, that was too big for you all.
Nope, they got it though. They received it.
I got it, but I can't send it out or else it'll mess up my email.
See?
But no. It's set for my email. No, set for my email. She still received it. She still received it. You never received it. Kept kicking back.
In little bitty pieces. I can send you like, mega, huge bytes, terabytes.
But you can't receive it.
No, I can. It's you that you cannot send it. All right. Hey, this is a lot of.
You already have everything on Discovery. It ain't nothing new.
I didn't know that you were going
When it gets done, it's gonna be a little click the sign.
I didn't know that you were going to do all of this.
You wanted to have a hearing, so we got a hearing. I got to make sure the judge has all this.
You didn't tell me with enough time what you were going to offer in evidence.
Ha! You got enough time. You already had all this evidence since the day of the incident. Since
You didn't know that you were
2020.
going to offer. Doesn't mean that you were going to offer it. Okay.
Y'all want a breakout room?
I'm done with Raphael.
Can we go back on the record on Highsmith?
with Denise.
All right, we're back on the record on NIGhtMag 637-077. I'm not gonna make a decision today, Ms. Highsmith. I need to order a PR bond report. So someone's gonna come talk to you and they'll take all of that information that I need and deliver it to me, and then I'll make a decision. So I don't know if there's anyone, if we have enough staff that it could get done today, but we're ordering it today. So latest you'll hear from me is next Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You're excused. Do you need to visit with your client anymore, Mr. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Smith can go back, please. Mr. Leal, did you send me your email? Or did you get the exhibits?
I did get the exhibits.
Ashley,
Yes.
could you put me in a breakout room with Denise, please? Thank you, Ashley.
Can you make it quick? Because we're gonna go on the record on Pedro.
Yep, it'll take 2 seconds, like 2 minutes, Judge. I just need to ask the question really quick.
Jason, can you give me a printout on Mr. Pedro, all the cases he has with all the bond amounts, please?
I'm back, Judge.
Okay. So, Mr. Leal, on which cases have you filed a motion to reduce the bond?
On all of them, Judge.
Ag assault against a public servant, ag assault with a deadly weapon, and evading arrest in a motor vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
On the evading arrest in a motor vehicle, that's a 3rd-degree felony. You're saying $5,000 is too high?
Well, in combination with everything else, Judge, the total on all the bonds is 98,500. So the evading arrest with a motor vehicle adds up to the criminal mischief, 2 cases, that's $10,000 on both of them. And then there is the assault on a public servant, 50,000. And the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
So there's a criminal mischief NIGhtMag that was dismissed. So that one is not holding him in. He had a driving while intoxicated that was judgment satisfied. That's not holding him in. So What's holding him is the evading arrest or detention, which is $5,000, which is for the level of offense is reasonable. Ag assault with a deadly weapon, 35,000. You're saying that's not reasonable? And then ag assault against a public servant. So, all right, let me pull your motions up and we'll get started.
All right.
What happened with Jacob Carrizales? Did he ever show up?
Yes, Judge, you should have. He's been sworn and we're ready to do the plea.
Oh, it's a plea?
Yes,
Okay.
Judge.
You guys hang
Paperwork is done
tight.
as well.
You guys hang tight. I'm gonna do Mr. Leal's hearing first. Ashley, what happened with Brian Duenas? I thought it was supposed to be heard today also.
I'll have to look, Judge. There was one that was a fugitive.
Was it Adam Cortez and his client never showed up?
There was one that you had requested there were a fugitive, but I'll double check.
No, I remember Adam Cortez showing up and his client didn't show up. I remember him.
Yes, ma'am.
We already have one.
Judge, when you get a chance, it's Bianca. Can you make me co-host?
I have your motion. Let's go on the record, please. This is cause number 2020 CR 2413, the state of Texas versus Brian Peddle. This is the defense motion for to reduce bond. Attorneys, please make your announcements for the record.
Denise Harrison for the state of Texas.
Rafael Leal for Brian Pedro, the defendant.
Mr. Peddle is appearing by video conference from the Bexar County Jail. Go ahead and tell me your full name, sir.
Brian Michael Peddle.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Oh, I was just saying, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Leal, this is your hearing. Go ahead and call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. I call Levina Peddle to stand.
Levina Peddle, yes. Go ahead and raise your right hand. You're going to have to unmute yourself, ma'am. I'll ask you. There you go. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. We can't hear you on our end. Are you connected to the Wi-Fi or where are you connecting your phone? Try putting the volume up. I could hear you a little bit. Just put the volume up on your phone.
Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me at all?
What do you have, an iPhone?
No, it's Samsung, Android.
Okay, you're coming in a little bit now, but I need you to put your volume higher up.
I've done this before. I've got a chatter, so bear with me.
I think you just have a bad internet connection. Do you want to disconnect and try to join the meeting again?
Hang on, I think I've got some. Hold on. Okay, is that better?
Much better. Yes.
Okay.
Let me swear you in. Do you swear that do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
You go, Mom.
We can't hear you.
Oh, how about now? You could just tell me what happened.
What I suggest you do, Ms. Petal, is disconnect from the meeting, put the volume all the way up, and then reconnect and connect with audio when you reconnect.
Okay, I'll try. I've got everything turned up.
I have a hard time hearing you, and there seems to be like an echo. When you disconnect, also disconnect your Bluetooth. Like turn off your Bluetooth.
How about this? I don't have a
Yeah, and you also need to turn off all your apps that you have going on right now.
This is it.
Okay. Put the volume up. Let me do this, Ms. Petal. Let me take a plea in a different case, and then I'm going to give you a chance to work on your audio while I'm doing this other plea, okay? Let's go on the record on Jacob Carrizales.
Jacob, you need to unmute your audio and your video.
Okay.
All right, let's go on the record. This is cause number 2020 CR 6681, the state of Texas versus Jacob Carrizales. Attorneys, please make your announcements for the record.
Samuel Laws for the state, Your Honor.
Suzanne Kramer for Mr. Carrizales.
Mr. Carrizales is appearing by video conference. Go ahead and tell me your full name, sir.
My name is Jacob Carrizales.
I need to be able to see your face while we're doing this, so you're gonna have to put the camera so I can see your face right there. All right, give me just a minute. I'm gonna show you the true bill of indictment that was filed in your case in just a minute, and we're gonna go over it.
Okay.
The state has filed a true bill of indictment. It alleges the offense of sexual assault in both counts of the indictment. State, how are we going to proceed?
As charged, Your Honor.
Sexual assault of a child is a second-degree felony. Mr. Carrizales, it is punishable by confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that's prison, the institutional division, for any period between 2 and 20 years confinement. It also carries a possible fine of up to $10,000. Do you understand the range of punishment that applies?
Yes, ma'am.
It's explained in this document called the Court's Admonishments. It tells you the range of punishment. It also tells you your constitutional rights. You have the right to a jury trial. You have the right to cross-examine the witnesses against you. You also have the right to remain silent. Those are your constitutional rights. Do you understand those?
Yes.
When you sign this waiver, what you're telling me is you want to give up those rights that I just explained to you. Is that what you intend to do?
Yeah.
Is this your electronic signature where it says Jacob above Jacob Carrizales?
Yes.
Are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
If you are not a citizen, I'm still required to tell you that a plea of guilty or no contest to this charge could result in deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Mr. Carrizales, are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney?
Yes.
State, based on the plea paperwork, it looks like you're only proceeding on count 1. Do you want
I
to make your
apologize, Judge. I missed that. Yes. State waives count 2.
Okay.
Crazy.
Ms. Kramer, does your client have a rational and factual understanding of the proceedings against him?
He does, Judge.
Has he been able to assist you in the preparation of any defenses?
He has.
In your opinion, is he mentally competent to waive his rights and enter into a plea?
He is, Judge.
I will accept the waiver of rights and make it part of the record. Mr. Carrizales, on the screen, I have the plea bargain agreement that you made in this case. The agreement calls for 10 years of deferred adjudication, $2,500 fine. We're going to do a TAP evaluation, 100 hours of community service, no contact order with Belinda, which is a pseudonym for the complaining witness. Chapter 62 compliance and all the sex offender classes. So you'll be monitored by the sex offender unit while you're on deferred. Is that your understanding of the agreement that you made in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Kramer, is that your understanding?
Yes, Judge. And just for the record, I did speak with Mr. Lyles about a possible early termination, and he informed me that the state would not object down the way to an early termination should the judge be willing to grant it.
Under Chapter 62, that's not allowed.
That wasn't, Your Honor, I didn't have that conversation. She might have spoken to Mr. Sandoval.
Chapter 62, anytime you have to register as a sex offender, you cannot early terminate under the statute. All right, anything, is that your understanding otherwise?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Lyles, is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is your plea to the charge in count 1 of sexual assault? Is it guilty, not guilty, or no contest, Mr. Carrizales?
No contest.
Are you entering a plea of no contest because you have talked about this matter with your attorney and you believe it's in your best interest to do so?
Yes,
Are you doing this freely and voluntarily?
yes.
Has anyone forced you to enter a plea today
No, ma'am.
or offered you anything in exchange for your plea?
No.
I will accept your plea of no contest. I do find the plea is voluntarily made, and I will ask the state to tender its proof.
State offers State Exhibit 1 along with attachments.
No objection, Judge.
States 1 is admitted. Ms. Kramer, are you satisfied the state complied with Article 3914?
Yes, Judge.
I will sign the discovery acknowledgement and make it part of the record. Hey, give me just a minute, please.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Petal, did you fix your audio problem?
Okay, how's that? Is that any better?
Yes, that's very good.
Okay.
I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready to go back on the record. Sam, can you tell me generally what his criminal history is like?
Go ahead, Sam. You
I
probably
was
have it
just saying,
quicker.
in Bear County, he has a possession of marijuana, but that's it.
Let me see the attorneys in a breakout room. Let's go back on the record. Mr. Carrizales, I need you to put your camera on and unmute yourself.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Need to see you. All right. I do find the evidence is sufficient to substantiate your guilt. I'm not going to make any other findings at this time. I'm going to grant the application for deferred adjudication, but this is what I'm going to do. Jacob, I need you to pay attention.
Mhm.
Instead of 10 years of supervision, I'm going to order 5 years of supervision, and I'm going to tell you why. You don't have a criminal record, and this is a hardcore intensive supervision that you're going to go through. And I will know, as soon as you're on probation, I will know if you're not complying with your conditions. And then that'll make me rethink whether or not you need to be on deferred. So I'm going to grant deferred for 5 years, $2,500 fine. We're going to do a TAP evaluation. Probation, I also want him screened for DDRF and MIC. 100 hours of community service. No contact order with Belinda, which is the pseudonym for the complaining witness in this case. Chapter 62 compliance. He'll be supervised by the sex offender unit. And all conditions of that unit. You made an agreement in this case, and I followed the agreement, Mr. Carrizales. So what that means is you do not have a right to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're going to go in a breakout room with probation now. Your probation starts now. So I need you to make sure that your attitude is the correct attitude to be on probation, that you are respectful to everyone, and that you comply with the conditions of your deferred. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead and go in the breakout room. Let's go back. On Brian Pedro.
Judge, that's it for family violence. Might be excused.
Sure, have a good weekend. It's a long weekend.
Yeah, y'all enjoy the weekend.
The state's present, Your Honor.
I have a quick question about Pedro. Let's go on the record. And clerks, I need you to look something up for me. And Mr. Land, I don't know if you have the answers to this, but Mr. Pedro filed a writ of habeas for bond reduction back August the 13th, 2020. And I want to know if there was a ruling on that application for writ of habeas. Because and then there was a second writ of habeas that was filed. This was when James Tochi was his attorney. So if I have already ruled on those applications for writ of habeas, isn't the remedy to appeal that decision if I denied the writ of habeas? And I don't know if I did. I don't know. I'm just asking. And I want the clerks to pull up the order if I did deny it. I want to say I granted it back on August of 2020, but Melinda, what do you
I
show?
am gonna go ahead and pull up that order, Judge. Give me 1 second.
If I already granted it, I don't know that he's entitled to this hearing.
You guys, I did back on August 13, 2020. That's the one I am looking at.
Go ahead and send it to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor,
Mhm.
just briefly, Judge Denise, she dropped off. She just called me to say her computer has shut down, but she's trying to get back in.
Okay. I'm still just trying to think this through. So, Mr. Leal, that's my question. Look, right here. I already denied the application for writ of habeas seeking a bail reduction. So wouldn't the appropriate remedy be to appeal that denial?
Judge, in my opinion, okay, an habeas corpus is not applicable when the person has been indicted. The proper vehicle in that situation is a motion to reduce bond, not an habeas corpus. So I'm not familiar with what happened back when I was not the lawyer or Mr. Pedro, but that has been my what I will contend that was not an appropriate vehicle to address the court for a bond reduction, because there were no opportunity for my client. I would assume, I wasn't there, but back on August 13, 2020, for my client to be able to put up any evidence, and like we're trying to do here today. So I'm not, in my opinion, that was not, an habeas corpus for bond reduction is not the appropriate vehicle to do this. It's a motion to reduce bond under the appropriate case.
All right, well, I will hear the evidence that you have to me. Call your first witness. I think I've already sworn her in twice. Let's go on the record.
Judge,
Ms.
Denise
Pedro.
is not on yet, Judge. Give me 1 second, please.
Yeah.
Sorry, Judge, my computer just shut down on me, restarted.
That's okay. We're about to get started. We're back on the record on 2020 CR 2413, 2020 CR 2414, 2020 CR 2415. Mr. Leal, I did read your motion, but just to be real clear on the record, the nightmare criminal mischief that you cited in your motion has been dismissed. So what we have today is your client is in custody. The charges that he has pending are evading arrest in a motor vehicle, that's a $5,000 bond, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, $35,000 bond, and aggravated assault against a public servant, $50,000 bond. Attorneys, please make your announcements for the record.
Denise Harrison for the state of Texas, Your Honor.
Rafael Leal for Brian Pedro.
And Mr. Pedro is appearing by video conference. Go ahead and tell me your full name.
Brian Michael Peddle, Your Honor. And there's also 2 state jail felony criminal mischiefs that those are $5,000 apiece.
No, sir, there's not. Those are closed.
those got dismissed.
State, can you confirm what I said on the record? And he has 3 cases pending.
I thought that both criminal mischiefs were still pending, Your Honor.
No, it says case dismissed. Nightmag 550-492 says case dismissed on Mocha.
It should be 2 of them.
Let me just double check. Sorry, Your Honor.
Judge, I'm going to send you all active pending cases.
Go ahead. Call your first witness, Mr. Leon.
I call Lavina Pedro to stand.
Lavina?
Lavina Pedal. I've already sworn you in, Ms. Pedal. You remain under the same oath. Go ahead, Mr. Leon.
Ms. Pedro, could you spell out your name for the record?
Yes, it's Levyna. Last name Peddle, Peddle.
And what is your relationship to Brian Michael Pedro?
I'm his mother.
And how long has Mr. Pedro been a resident of Berry County?
You broke up on me a little bit.
How long
We've
has
lived here for,
Mr. Pedro been a resident?
I'm sorry, you keep breaking up.
How long has Mr. Pedro been a resident of Berry County?
He's been there for 2 years. A little over 2 years. It was 2 years in December, the 25th. It was 2 years.
How long has he been living in Bulverde, Texas, prior to his arrest?
Over 30 years.
Okay. Did he attend Bulverde High School?
Smithson Valley High School.
All right. He's in Bulverde, Texas?
Yes, Bulverde Spring Branch.
Okay. And as you know, he was arrested December 26, 2019. Prior to that arrest, where was he working, if you know?
He was working at a convenience store out here, a Valero.
Okay. And how long had he been working there prior to December 26?
I want to say maybe 5 or 6 months, something like that.
And prior to that job, do you know where else he was working before getting the store job?
Yeah, there was another convenience store, a 7-Eleven that he worked at for about 5 or 6 months. And then he got the opportunity at Valero. It was a little closer to home.
Has he only been working in convenience stores?
No, he's had some experience several years ago with landscaping and tile work.
Was he working at Austin Materials sometime prior to his arrest?
I'm sorry, with what?
Was he working at Austin Materials prior to his arrest?
Yes, I think that was one of the landscaping jobs. That's it. Yes, I'll say yes. Or wait, you mean like right before the arrest, or has he ever worked for them? I'm sorry.
Before December 26, 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. What before December 26, 2019, was he in a relationship? Did he have a common law wife?
Yes, actually, they were married, I believe.
They were married, okay. And did they have any children together?
Not together, no.
Okay. And what was the name? What is the name of Mr. Pedro's wife?
Nelda Jean Chancy Peddle. And
And
she's,
if, what if anything happened to, Mrs. Pedro?
she was killed in September in a hit and run by a
In September of what year?
2021.
All right. So about 5-6 months ago.
Yes,
Okay. And when that happened, Mr. Pedro was obviously still incarcerated. Is that correct?
yes, sir.
Okay. Was he able to attend the funeral?
No,
All right. And how long had he been in that relationship, if you know?
I would say probably 9-10 years, maybe. Let me see, 2013. Yeah, I'd say about
So it was a
8 years,
long-term
over 8, yes.
committed relationship to. Now, you know, the amount of the bonds in Mr. Pedro's case.
Well, what I would call I was told over 104,000 for everything together when I called bail bondsmen.
Okay, and have you talked to bail bondsmen about making the bond in its current amount?
Pretty much the majority wants 10%, which is a lot for
10%
us of the entire thing.
the
Like
amount?
they told me.
Mr. Now, do you have a question?
Didn't know what the response was. She broke up.
Oh, okay. It was 10%, and I was quoted $104,000 for all the bonds together.
Well, apparently it's a little less than that, 98,500. Can you make the bond? Can you help him with the bond?
Not at that, no, sir.
Federal has any property he could sell to apply towards the bond amount?
No,
Do you have any vehicles or any real property that he can sell?
no, sir.
Does he have any bank accounts with any funds in them?
No,
Okay, and have you, Mr. Pedro has been incarcerated for over 2 years. Is
yes,
that correct?
yes, that's correct.
And how much have you been able to collect and to apply to a bond in Mr. Pedro's cases?
Right now it would be about 3,000. That's
That
all we
what
could
you have?
do. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And have you been able to talk to anybody, any bonding agencies for any kind of deals that would allow you to apply $3,000 to a 98,500 bond?
No, not any that I've talked to. They all want more than that.
They want more than 3,000?
Yeah,
In your
they just kind of tell me no, this,
opinion,
you know.
what type of a bond, in your opinion, what type of bond can you make on behalf of your son?
Well, like I said, we could do like 3,000, but we certainly can't do almost, 10. We just don't have it.
Okay, can you apply 3,000 and then the rest in payments, for example?
Well, a lot of them had some pretty high payments, and that's kind of why he's still in there. But most of them wanted more than the 3,000
May-
down. So the ones I talked to wanted more than
Okay.
that even down. So
And you already know what the charges are against your son, is that correct?
yes,
And those are aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, assault on a police officer, evading arrest. Those are the main ones. Okay. Is there, if the judge were to lower the bond, how can you make certain, or how can you assure the judge that Mr. Pedro is not going to go somewhere else and not be available for court when the court is called?
he actually wants to go into like sober living rehab. So he's really wanting to get himself together. I'm in the process of talking to some sober living facility. It's with Cornerstone Church. Tully Blanchard is the head of prison ministries there, and they come to Bexar County. And before the COVID hit, they were going there, and Brian was going to their meetings and spoke with him. And they have programs that help people that come out to stay off drugs and to help them, to find jobs. And I believe they even work while they're at the facility. But I'm in the process of getting more information on that.
Is Mr. Pedro a flight risk?
No.
Has he on prior occasions, in prior cases, has he not appeared in court, or has had failures to appear in other cases to your knowledge?
No.
How's the witness?
Thurston? You're muted, Denise.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Peddle, sorry for your loss this past October with your daughter-in-law. Was there a life insurance? Did she have a life insurance policy? Are you aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. In fact, the kids were trying to do a GoFundMe page to raise funds.
And Miss Peddle, what's your address?
It's 464 East Hammond Road, Bulverde, Texas, 78163.
Number 7?
Number 7.
Okay. And who else lives there? Mr. Brian Peddle? I mean, Mr. James Peddle?
Yes, that's my husband.
Okay. And at some point, you have had to call the cops on your son in regards from that residence. Isn't that true?
Yeah, back in the past, yes. We've had some.
2017 is the most recent regarding drugs?
No. He didn't
Regarding
have any drugs on him.
Did he come to your property and you called the police because he wasn't supposed to be on your property?
No, he was actually staying here in an RV, him and his wife. And there was I guess you would just say a domestic. And the cops said that there was a trespass warning. And I think that was from my brother. He didn't want him on his part, but we're so close together that they went ahead and arrested him for, I guess, a criminal trespass. And I was trying to tell him that where he was our property.
And he was also arrested for assault on a public police officer on a police officer that night too. Isn't that true?
Yeah, they said that he got charged with that afterwards. I really don't know the circumstance. All I know is that the charge was there after they left here with him. He went to the hospital. First, they went ahead and called EMS and they checked him out. And then I guess something, I don't know what happened between here and there, but.
Where would your son live if he's released?
If he's released, he wants to go to this sober living place if we can make it happen, or I guess he would be here.
And that's in Bulverde, Texas?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And anyone else in the house except for you and your husband?
My daughter lives with us and she's got 2 kids. They're here right now. She's trying to kind of get out on her own, but right now they're staying with us.
And what's the age of the kids?
17. They just turned 18, my oldest grandson, and then my granddaughter's 15.
And if he's out, how will you stop your son from using drugs if he has to wait to get into Cornerstone?
I guess he wouldn't leave the house unless I'm with him. I'm not going to just turn him loose. So he can go it again. I don't know what else to do. I wouldn't just let him run free. But hopefully we can, he really wants to do this. So hopefully they'll have some openings. I just gotta.
The state has no further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else from this witness, Mr. Van?
Yes, just one other question, Judge.
Go ahead.
Ms. Pedro, how would you make sure that Mr. Pedro, your son, makes every court date that in his cases? What would you do to make sure?
I would take him. I'd want to be
Will take him to court?
Yes.
Will you keep in touch with me about court dates as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And if he refuses to go to court, what would you do in that situation?
Call you. But I don't
Okay.
think he would, but I would let you know what was going on.
All right. Would you also call the court?
If I needed to.
Pastor would.
No question. Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Call Brian Pedro to stand, Judge.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this cause shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Pedro, is your full name Brian Michael Pedro?
Yes, sir.
And you were arrested December 26, 2019. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It's been over 2 years since that occasion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And prior to your arrest, what was your work history? Where were you working at the time? And tell us a little bit about that. What are your skills and abilities?
I've done construction, like building decks. I've done tile and wood floor and stuff like that. But I was working at an Austin Materials place, which is a road construction. They were doing the construction on 35 past 1604. It was a really good job, and I got it through VIP staffing, which I would probably go through them again because they're really good. They started me out at $15 and I think 75 cents an hour just starting out. And
how long had you been working there?
About a month, I think, because I had just started working there.
And prior to Austin Materials, where were you working?
Those two convenience. Actually, I was working at 3 convenience stores. There was one real close to my parents' house, which used to be called Sweets, it's on Bulverde Road and 281 before you get to 281. And then I was working at one on Blanco Road, which is the Valero that my mother was talking about. and then the 7-Eleven also on 281 and Bulverde Road.
Were you
I was working at
working
3.
at all those at the same time?
Yes, sir. I actually got them all at the same time, and I was really doing pretty good working. They liked my work attitude and stuff, and I ended up getting three convenience store jobs at the same time.
Okay, so you had a hectic work week.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how long have you been a resident of Bexar County of Bulverde, Texas?
Oh man, all my life, as far as I can remember, since I was 2, I think my parents moved here, so it's over 30 years, sir.
Okay, and concerning prior cases, have you been in compliance with prior bond conditions?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, have you ever failed to appear in a case?
No, sir. I always go.
You always make your court appearances?
Yes, sir.
Have you been convicted of a failure to appear?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there, besides what you're facing right now, you have a prior pending case in Comal County, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what is that for?
That was for an MTR because I had missed an appointment because I had been in the emergency room, which I have the emergency room note, and I just haven't had I never got a chance to get that resolved because I caught these cases. So I would have been reinstated, I'm sure, out there. And it was just an MTR for a fail to meet my new officer, because I finally got an officer. It took them months because they were in transition, and I mean, I got out in January, and I think I got the MTR in September or October, which is when I finally got a probation officer. And I had been there that week, went to the place I always go to, which is next to the courthouse in New Braunfels, and they told me that I had to go somewhere else, and I was like, I'm going to a job interview. At the time, I was interviewing for a landscaping company, and my wife had drove me out there.
Okay.
To
But
go.
why did you have to go to the hospital?
I got like bit by something at working in the landscaping on my ankle, and it swelled up. I think it was a spider or something, and I had to go. I went to the emergency room to get it lanced and make sure it was not gonna chop my foot off. It was pretty painful, but they gave me a note and everything. I even talked to my probation officer, and he said, "Well, sir, I'm gonna have to issue an MTR for you."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay."
All right, but you think you have a legal excuse to that, right?
Yes, sir. I got the note from the emergency room and everything. So
okay. Now, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Were you born in Texas?
Yes, sir. Kingsville.
All right. And concerning your ability to make the bond in its current amount, what kind of funds do you have?
I have nothing, sir. I lost everything in here. I even lost my wife, like they said, passed away, and I don't have anything, sir. Just my family, and they can barely get by, and they've, by the grace of God, scraped together 3,000. I just found out from my mom right now that they can come up with 3,000, which is a blessing, and I don't have any funds, sir.
What kind of bond do you think that you need a reduction in order for you and your family to make the
whatever the judge grants me would be a blessing, really, but half would be nice. That way my mom could find someone that'll take 3,000, because they want, like my mom said, 10%. That's 10 grand, and that's too much, sir. We can't come up with it. And I just wanted to go, spend time with my wife's kids, our kids, and our grandbabies. And since I lost her, I didn't get to go to the funeral. And
now, those are not your children, are they?
No, sir, but I've been with my wife for over 10 years, and they all love me, and the grandbabies, they love me, and I love them like they're on my own, you know?
Did you help? Did you help with raising them?
Yes, sir. The grandbabies. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So I think I already asked your mom, but do you own any vehicles or
No, sir.
real estate?
No, sir.
Do you own any bank accounts with any money in it?
No, sir.
Is there anybody that can, besides your family, your mom, is there anybody that can loan you the money so you can get out?
No, sir.
Would you have already bonded out if you had the money?
Yes, sir. I definitely wouldn't be sitting in here through all the COVID and stuff if I could have got out.
Now, I don't know if you have had the opportunity, but have you called anybody from jail, like a bonding company, to see what kind of deals you could make?
They don't really answer, but I gave my mom all the numbers, like to every bondsman I could think of, even lawyers that supposedly bonded people out, and my mom called them all, and that's what she said was what she found out, because they don't answer the calls from jail. So
now, concerning this incident, did you have a bad drug reaction, or what was going on?
yes, sir. I don't really know. I mean, I wasn't me at all. I don't know what was going on, and I'm not gonna. I'm changed. You know, I'm never gonna touch drugs again, especially losing my wife. You know, it's not worth it. You know.
Were you hallucinating at that point?
Yes, sir. I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know. I was delusional, sir. It wasn't me, that's for sure.
Is that something that you have experienced before?
No, sir. It's
okay. Did you intend all this commotion and?
Oh no, sir. No,
call
sir.
people?
No, I would never do that. That's not who I am, sir.
Pass the witness.
Okay, since the last questions was in regards to the incident, this is not who you are. You pled guilty to the DWI that was attached to this incident. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you slammed your car into a deputy's vehicle while somebody was being transported in that vehicle. Is that correct?
It was parked in the middle of an intersection and I accidentally scraped it. Yes, ma'am. I didn't slam my vehicle into it on purpose. It was an accident.
So your car didn't go head on to the side into the side of the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the officer's lying when he said you turned around and went right towards him at a high speed.
Oh, hell no.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I just want to make sure we got this right. The officer was in the vehicle, and then an innocent bystander who was being transported to the hospital was in a vehicle. Two people in the vehicle when you hit this vehicle.
I didn't know I didn't know the vehicle was parked. I thought it was moving through the intersection. So I was driving to go through it with it. And when I realized it's parked because there was no headlight, no red and blues were on and no parking lights, that's when I swerved and just barely scraped the side. It was an accident.
So the officer didn't have his headlights on and try to stop you beforehand because
No, ma'am.
while you were driving?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And then did you stop and see if the officer or anybody was okay in the vehicle?
Not right away. No, ma'am. I didn't know there was anybody in there. After that, I was pretty sure I was in shock. I don't know what was going on, ma'am.
So you left the scene of a crime without
Not
by
intention.
law. Let me ask my question. Which by law you're supposed to stop, and you did not stop, correct?
Not intentionally, but yes, ma'am.
And then you continue to evade police officers trying to stop you. Is that true?
No, ma'am. When I told me to pull over, I pulled over. I was, like I said, not in my right mind. I was talking to the officer and then he tells me, well, pull over. So I finally pulled over and then I had trouble putting the car in park and you know this rest.
Yeah, you pulled over when you finally hit 3 vehicles inside of a Toyota, inside of a car dealership. That's how you finally was stopped from evading the police. Isn't that true?
No, ma'am.
So the cops are completely lying.
No, ma'am. They're not lying. It didn't go like that, but I did bump into 2 more cars. You're right about that, miss.
And then you stated you were on probation,
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
And you currently still are on probation technically in Comal County as of right now.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm here, like I said, at MTR through them. So
And what kind of case is that you're on probation for?
that was an assault on a public servant. I guess when I was getting tased by them, my foot hit him or I don't know what happened, but I didn't want to fight it because at the time my wife was sick, and as soon as they offered me to be free and take probation, I signed so I could be with my wife and take care of her.
So I just want to make sure that this is right. You're on probation for assault public servant at the time you picked up a new assault public servant charge. Isn't that correct? Yes or no?
Yes, that's correct. I believe that's why they charged me with that instead of a hit and run or something.
Your Honor, no further questions.
I have a couple of questions, Judge.
Go ahead.
On the assault that you are on probation for, how many times did the police officer tase you?
A bunch. I was in the hospital still handcuffed when they were tasing me because I had fell out the wheelchair, and they told me get up 1, 2, and then before they counted to 3, they just started hitting me right there in the hospital lobby. And apparently, I don't know why they even put assault on a public servant, but I guess they had to cover their reasons for tasing me in a hospital. So they acted like I assaulted them, and then me not having no money to fight the cases, and my wife needed me.
Excuse me, was the tasing, did you have a reaction to the tasing such as extend your legs or arms?
Yes, when you get tased, you lose control of your limbs and your body, and you shake. So, yes, sir.
And during that process, you were tasing, and your reaction to it did the police officer allege that you had hit him?
Yes, sir. I think that's what happened.
But that was a reaction to the tasing, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
An involuntary reaction.
Yes, sir. Involuntary reaction. You can't help it when they shock you, your whole body tenses up and you lose control of your limbs, and it's almost like you can't breathe too for a second. It's really not pleasant. Not at all.
It's an electrical discharge through your muscles, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no further questions.
The state has no questions, Your Honor.
Okay.
Just-
I'm familiar with the case, very familiar with the facts. And I just want to clear up the record on the bond amounts. There are 2 indicted criminal mischief cases that are set at $5,000 each, and then the evading arrest is at $5,000. The ag assault deadly weapon is $35,000, and the ag assault public servant is $50,000. So you guys are more than welcome to make arguments, but like I said, I'm very familiar with this case.
Your Honor, real quick, the state would like to put in the evidence.
Go ahead.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would like to put in the evidence, State's Exhibit 1 to 1, State's evidence, State's Exhibit 1 through 12.
And I have an objection
Okay.
to the state's exhibit, Judge. They just been provided to me, not even an hour ago. I have, there is no foundation for the admission of those exhibits. They contain a lot of hearsay, and I haven't had an opportunity to confront the people that make allegations and contain specifically in the Comal County case.
Your Honor,
which I believe it's.
I'm not concerned about the Comal County case. But we are going to talk about that in a little bit, but I'm not concerned about that. So are you saying you're not going to agree for purposes of this hearing to have those admitted? You want the witnesses to come and testify about those things? How else am I supposed to know the facts and circumstances of this, of the underlying charges?
Well, Judge, a foundation has not been given for the admission of those exhibits. And it is the state requirement that they produce sufficient foundation for its admission. They contain a lot of hearsay that are not necessary for the purpose of this hearing, because we already know what the allegations are. And if, aside from that, there is confrontational issues, and then there is a authentication of those exhibits as well.
Well, if this was trial, yes, those are valid objections, but this is, you want me to reduce the bond of your client. So how am I going to get there unless I can get a good idea of what happened? I've already heard his side. I have enough to make a ruling if you just want me to limit it to what he just said.
Well, Your Honor, that's all the testimony that we have provided, and I guess you can proceed with that.
All right, the objection is sustained. Next time, when you're going to take up this much time and you're going to object to the prosecution guide, you need to tell the state so they can make their witnesses available. And then that would require like an entire day hearing just to prove those things up on a bond reduction if you're not going to agree.
Judge, if I may, I wasn't aware that the state was going to produce any exhibits. They just been given to me 30 to an hour.
It's discovery. It's basic discovery that you already have.
I understand, Judge. I had discovery in a case, but I didn't know what type of exhibits they were going to be introducing.
Well, I've already sustained your objection. They're not coming in. I'm going to base it on the ruling of the evidence I heard right now. But I am going to request a PR bond report on both criminal mischiefs and the evading arrest. And Mr. Pedro,
Yes, Your Honor.
did you say that you were on some sort of drugs the day of the incident?
I believe so. I was, yes, ma'am.
Listen, I need to know what I'm going to do with your bonds. So I need to know if addiction is something that is happening that I need to address.
It was a problem, yes, ma'am.
And are you interested in any type of help?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
They have a
No, that's all I have. Argument, please.
Judge, if I may, Mr. Pedro has been incarcerated for over 2 years, as we know. And the reason that he has been there for this length of time is his inability to make the bond in the amount set. I understand the nature of the offense and the allegations that have been made against Mr. Pedro. However, we have produced some evidence that about his inability to make the bond, and he's humbly requesting that a reduction be made to, and we're proposing that reduction in half, which will make it a $50,000 overall for all the cases he has pending. Obviously, the court can impose many conditions to make sure that Mr. Pedro does not engage in any use of drugs. The court can order regular UAs, drug tests, can perhaps even request that a monitor or GPS be a requirement of his bond. Mr. Pedro has never been has always appeared in court. Whatever the case may be, he has always been there, whatever the circumstances. And this is not gonna be any different. We're requesting, with all due respect, that his bond be reduced to 1/2, so he can get out and defend himself and help himself. He obviously doesn't have anything. Everything has been taken away, including his wife, and he needs to be out there with the appropriate conditions. That's all I had, Judge.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. Regarding the reasonableness, Your Honor, the state believes the amounts are reasonable for the offenses charged and for and also because the fact that he was on probation for an assault public servant under court order supervision, wasn't supposed to pick up no new crimes, and now he picked up more aggravating cases, more serious cases, again, against a police officer and as innocent bystander, Your Honor, and then other numerous charges, the evading arrest and 2 criminal mischiefs, Your Honor. Also, we have to look at whether or not he's a danger to the community, Your Honor. The state believes he is a danger to the community due to the fact that oh yeah, I forgot, Your Honor. He also pled to the DWI that is attached to this case. He even said he pled to it from the same office for him driving intoxicated that night, Your Honor. He continues to break the law, Your Honor. He doesn't care about the court system because he knew he wasn't supposed to be certain things he wasn't supposed to do when he's on probation. And he continues to put individuals at risk. And then on this specific day, it wasn't just a police officer. It's another person, another innocent bystander, Your Honor. And because of all those factors, Your Honor, the state would ask for you to keep the bond amounts where they are currently at, Your Honor. And also, if he would possibly make bond GPS.
Everyone understands that if I lower or grant any PR bonds and he's released, he's going to Comal County, and you're going to sit there until that MTR is resolved. Do you understand that, Mr. Pedro?
Yes, ma'am.
Who
Yes,
is
Your
who is your attorney over there?
Honor. Kimball Brown. And I have a bond over there that actually had lowered.
All right. Well, I'm not going to decide right now. I'm going to wait for the PR bond reports, then I'll make my decision by Tuesday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. It's a long weekend.